Hello, so here we are with lesson 13B, rational number operations, day 3. Students will be able to find the product and quotient of rational numbers. Students will be able to state fraction problems and answers correctly, and this is important for many real-world problems like calculating how many calories are in each serving of food. Product and quotient, so today we're going to be doing the multiplying and dividing again. So remember with those, we're going to count the negatives, and it switches every time. So negative, positive, negative, positive. If you remember, we had talked about the example -5. So that's a negative number. And then if we multiply that by -1, now it's positive. Now it's negative. Now it's positive. Now it's negative. Now it's positive. So here the product would be +5. So remember, every time we have another negative that we're multiplying by, it switches signs. So negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. So our answer is positive. So that's the same idea here. It's just this time we have decimals and fractions. And so we're going to try to go through that. Today's focus is really the fractional part. Tomorrow we'll be looking at decimals again. Now, before we get started, there is a little background knowledge. I'm going to go through this quickly because this is not the main idea of the lesson. So just see if you can copy it down. 3 times 3/4 means there are 3 groups of 3/4. 3 groups of 3/4. So on the number line, we would count 3/4 3 times. So there's 1, 2, 3/4, and this is already broken up into fourths. Here, I'll zoom in so you can see it. All right, there we are. So each of these little sections are already broken up into fourths. So that's why we have 1, 2, 3/4, 1, 2, 3/4, 1, 2, 3. Those are fourths. And so we end up at 2 1/4. So we end up at 2 1/4. We'll be working stuff like that out later in the lesson, but that's just the idea. This one means 2/3 times 6, so it means 2/3 of a group of 6. 2/3 of a group of 6. So if we have a group of 6, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we need to split it up into 3 equal parts. So that would be like, there's an equal part, there's an equal part, there's an equal part, right? Like we divide the 6 by 3. So each part has 2 sections. Do you see that? So that's 1, that's 2, that's 1, that's 2, that's 1, that's 2. And we want 2 of those sections. So here is 2/3 of a group of 6 would end right there. Okay, so it's 2 of these. 1, 2. 2/3 of that. And so that answer would be 4 because that's where it is. All right, similarly right here, 1/2 times 1/3 means a half of a group of 1/3. A half of a group of 1/3. So if we take this piece between 0 and 1 and break it into thirds, that means there's a third, there's a third, and it's half of one of those. So that means I would have to split this in half. So to figure out what that is, we would split all the other ones in half, and then look at how many sections there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so that would be 1/6. So that's why we end up multiplying across. It means half of a third. And yes, we end up multiplying across. Just like all of our whole numbers, 27 divided by 9 is 3 because 27 is 9 times 3 or 9 groups of 3. We could also say 27 is 3 groups of 9 or 3 times 9. So that's all just relating it back to what you had seen probably in 5th grade, maybe 4th grade. So I'm going to zoom out so that you can see all of it written there. So 12 divided by 3, 12 is 3 groups of what number? So it's 3 groups of, each group has 4. And so that would be 4. 4 divided by 2/3, 4 is 2/3 of a group of what number? So 2/3 of a group of what number? 4 is 2/3. 2/3. So 4 is broken up into 2 parts. And so each part is 2, and I have 3 of those. And so that one would be 6. 2/3. So 4 is 2/3 of 6 is how you want to think of it. Or 2/3 divided by 4. 2/3 is 4 groups of what number? So 2/3 is 4 groups of what number? So if I take this and I make it into 4 parts, 4 parts, 2/3 is 4 parts of what number? So we would think 2/3 times 1/4 is 12. Sorry, 2/12, which is 1/6. And I know this is a little bit weird, but it's 4 groups of what number? Well, each of these would be half of a third, and so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. So each of these is 1 6. That's a 6. That's a 6. That's a 6. That's a 6. And it's one of those groups is 1 6. So that's how that works. Don't worry if you don't quite get that, or you might need to watch that part a couple of times to really get what's going on there. But the overall idea is over here on the next page. So really what you need to be able to do is follow the rule of multiplying and dividing with fractions. So remember with fractions, let's write up top, we can cross reduce. That is the beautiful thing that we can do when we're multiplying fractions. It only works with multiplying. So let's see if we can do that here. 3 and 27. Yeah, 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 27 9 times. What about 8 and 16? Yep, those two. 8 goes into 8 once, 8 goes into 16 twice, and now we have much easier numbers to multiply across. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 9 is 9. And there's our answer. Let's try that again. Ooh, mixed number. Big by the bottom, add the top. Let's write these both as fractions. Negative 2 over 1 times 3 times 6 is 18 plus 1 is 19 over 6. Now I can't reduce anymore right here, 1 and 19, but I could reduce 2 and 6. 2 goes into 2 once, so that would be a negative 1. 2 goes into 6 3 times. And so now we just multiply straight across. Negative 1 times 19 is negative 19. 1 times 3 is 3. Ta-da! Let's rewrite that as a mixed number. How many groups of 3 can I take out of 19? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. I could take out 6. So that would be negative 6 would give me 18, so I would have 1 left over. There's my answer. Number 3. This is easy. All right, let's cross reduce here. 7 and 21. 7 goes into 7 once, so that's now a negative 1. 7 goes into 21 3 times. 8 and 5 we can't reduce anymore, so let's use what we have now. Negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. 8 times negative 3 is negative 24, and a negative and another negative is going to switch it back to positive. Positive 5/24. There's our answer. Number 4. Here we go. Mixed numbers. All right, big by the bottom, add the top. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 more is 7 over 3, and that had a negative on it. Times 1 times 14 is 14, plus that 1 is 15 over 14. All right, so there we are. Let's cross reduce. 7 and 14 can be reduced by 7. That would go in once. And over here we're going twice. 3 and 15 are both reducible by 3. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 15 5 times. And so now we can go ahead and multiply what's there. This is negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. 1 times 2 is 2. That's an improper fraction, so let's rewrite it. Negative. Let's see, how many 2's can I take out of 5? I can take out 2. Big number 2, and that would give me 4, so I would take 4 out from 5. I'd have 1 left over when I was looking for groups of 2. So we'd get negative 2.5. There we are. Okay, so dividing fractions or mixed numbers, multiplication and division are inverse operations of each other. Remember, 4 times 3 is the same thing as 4 divided by 1/3. 8 divided by 2 is the same thing as 8 times 1/2. 1 divided by 3 is the same thing as 1/2 divided by 3 is the same as 1/2 times 1/3. So remember the keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. Multiply by the reciprocal. To divide a fraction, multiply by the reciprocal. All right, so let's divide the following numbers. 3/8 divided by 1/2. Keep, change, flip, multiply by the reciprocal. So this is really keep, 3/8, change, to multiply, flip, to 2 over 1. Now we cross reduce, because remember, cross reducing only works when you're multiplying. So let's see, 2 and 8 are both divisible by 2. 2 would cross out to a 1, and I can take out 4 groups of 2 from 8. 3 times 1 is 3, and 4 times 1 is 4. Ta-da! On to number 6. Keep, 3/5, change, to multiply, flip, to negative 7 over 3. All right, Let's see. We can cross-reduce not the 5 and 7, but we can cross-reduce the 3 and 3. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 3 once. So we end up getting 1 times negative 7, which is negative 7, over 5 times 1, which is 5. How many groups of 5 can I take out of 7? Well, I could take out 1, so this is going to be negative 1, and I would have 2 left over. So negative 1 2/5. On to number 7. Big by the bottom, add the top. Let's go ahead and do that now. So that would be negative, let's see, 9 and 7 is going to be 16 over 9. That's our keep. Change to multiply, flip to 3 over 2. Ooh, this one has a lot of cross-reducing. 16 and 2 are both divisible by 2. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 16 8 times. 3 and 9 are both reducible by 3. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 9 3 times. And now we multiply. Negative 8 times 1 is negative 8. Over 3 times 1 is 3. How many groups of 3 can I take out of 8? Well, that would be 2. So I'd have negative big number 2. That gives me 6. And so when I take that out, I have 2 left over. So there we are. Negative 2 2/3. On to number 8. We're almost done. Keep, change, flip. So we're going to keep 8/15. We're going to change to multiplication. And we're going to flip to 5 over 4. Ooh, this one has a lot of cross-reducing again. 15 and 5, we can reduce by 5s. 5 goes into 15 3 times. 5 goes into 5 once. 8 and 4, we can also cross-reduce by 4s. 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 8 2 times. 2 times 1 is 2. 3 times 1 is 3. Nothing else to do. There's our answer. On to number 9. Let's write 5 as 5 over 1. That's going to help here. Change to multiplication. And this one we need to do big by the bottom at the top before we know what we're going to flip over. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So this is really 7 over 2. So I'm going to flip it to negative 2 over 7. Hopefully you saw how I did that. If you didn't, maybe rewatch it a couple of times and ask me at the back table. Can we cross-reduce anything here? Well, no, not there, and no, not there. So let's go ahead and do our multiplying. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10 over 1 times 7 is 7. And I could take out one group of 7 from 10, so that's negative 1, and I would have 3 left over. So there's our answer, negative 1 3/7. Last problem. Boo, this is kind of fun. Let's write it negative 10 over 1 because it's a whole number. Change to multiplication. Let's see, big by the bottom at the top. That's really 5 over 2. And so I'm going to flip it over to 2 over 5. All right. Ooh, this one has some cross-reducing. 2 and 1 I'm not going to bother with because that's already a 1. But 10 and 5. 10 and 5 we could take out groups of 5. 5 groups, let's see, how many groups of 5 can I take out of 10? Well, that's going to change to a negative 2. How many groups of 5 can I take out of 5? That's going to be a 1. Ooh, 1's on the bottom, that's easy. So negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. 1 times 1 is 1. And we get our total answer as just negative 4. There it is. All right, so try your exit ticket. We're going to be doing the decimal part tomorrow. So try your exit ticket. Always visit me at the back table if you're not sure of what to do on one of these sections. Good luck. Try your best. Goodbye.